Tell me a little bit about the process of deciding to take your event virtual. What was on your mind? What was the pros and cons? Just walk me through the organization's thinking.
Well, like I said, when we first realized we were not going to be able to do our conference in person, we wanted to be sure we delivered content of value for our members. So we still wanted to be able to deliver something virtually. And so, not knowing where to really start, I had contacted Omni to just give me a little guidance on what they'd done in the past, what platforms they'd used, just so I could start wrapping my head around everything.
There's a lot to wrap your head around. I mean, you've been doing events for a really long time, and it becomes second hat. You call the venue, you deal with the catering, you got rooms, you got this, that, the other, and all of a sudden there's platforms and virtual. Where was your head? How worried were you, or how confident were you early on?
I was a little worried about putting it on. I mean, I figured I could probably do a Zoom meeting, just a simple meeting. But we didn't want to do that. We wanted to make it a little bit more collaborative for our members. So we were looking at different platforms that would have us interacting more, and it just started getting a little bit out of my comfort zone. So yeah, I was not going to lie, I was a little bit worried about how we were going to pull all of this off. I'm not a technical guru. I know how to put on an in-person event because I've done that for years. Everybody kind of knows what they're doing, but when it came to virtual, it was a little bit more to wrap our heads around. So yes, I was grateful that I had made the connection with Omni, so I had at least a place that I could turn to help me figure out how to deliver it.
Perfect. Let's talk a little bit about, again, on that same line, the concept of, it's one thing to research online and read about platforms and.
Well, I mean, I guess when we were thinking about it, we didn't want it to just be, somebody talking at people. We wanted to have it more that people could interact together, and it's kind of hard to do that in a virtual format. So that's where, trying to figure out how to do all that. I mean, certainly choosing the right platform, was an important piece of it. But then we started realizing there was a little bit more to it than we thought. I started talking, there's all the training of your speakers. They need to know how to get onto the platform and how to deliver their materials and make it look seamlessly. And that's, I quickly realized after sitting through a few of those that I needed a little help to make that happen.
I quickly realized sitting through a few what, like training videos or something, or?
Yeah, I was sitting through some,
Pick that up again. I quickly realized, but I didn't understand exactly what you meant by that.
I quickly realized I needed help training the speakers. When I was talking to some of them, I gave them some demos myself, and I realized, they need a little bit more assistance than what I can provide, and I knew that I would have a lot of other things that I would be doing, and I was grateful that I had somebody that I could partner with to help me pull off the back end things.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because that's the role that Andy played for you on this project. He actually set up one-on-one training sessions with every speaker, every presenter, check their camera, their lighting, their audio, where they had that set up, the dynamics of the room. You didn't have to deal with any of those things. So tell me a little bit about what all that front end work. It's not just waiting and showing up at this virtual meeting. It's all the prep work that goes into it.
Oh, there was a lot more prep work than I thought there would be. I thought, you just show up and you just do it. But no, if you want it to look good, you have to put the work into it. And so I worked with Andy at Omni to make sure everybody knew kind of what they needed to do. So I wanted to make sure the speakers all knew how to log in, had their cameras positioned correctly so that they looked their best, had their microphones positioned. They didn't have any issues connecting because not every computer can connect well with these online platforms. So that's something that I knew I needed a little bit of technical expertise if there were issues that arise.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the experience of working with Omni. Just the the experience. Now, you had kind of a different way of doing it. Some of these presentations were happening live on your platform. You had Hoover.
No, we did Remo.
Remo, I'm sorry. Okay. We've done a few of these now, so I get a little bit turned around. You had a couple of people presenting live, and then you had some pre-recorded segments. Tell me a little bit about the preparation work, once you got past training your speakers to be live on the platform. You also had pre-recorded. Tell me a little bit about that hybrid approach of some pre-recorded and some live.
Well, there were some pieces that we felt were important to deliver pre-recorded, just so that it would be a little less moving parts on the day of the event, and everybody, it was going to deliver a professional looking product, and I think we were really successful with that. We came out to the studio, we had a day of filming, and everybody was great to work with. We did have to put together a lot of scripts and come up with what everybody was going to say, which that did take more time than, it's not something you think about. I don't think about it. I don't put together videos all the time. So, we had to come up with the scripts, and we brought people into the studio here, and we did it pretty quickly, I thought. Maybe took about half a day worth of work, and we even realized we left something out, and we called Omni up and said, hey, can you help us out here real quick? We left this part out, and so we were able to work it in.
Perfect.
And they just made it easy for us.
Good.
So like once you do it a few times, then it becomes too rote. I don't know if you...
Let's talk a little bit about the advantage that hybrid and virtual might have over in person. A couple of the folks that we've done work for on virtual and hybrid meetings, they've actually said that their numbers increased. That while there's something certainly missing, and I'm not going to take that
Right.
away, that face-to-face handshake, that all of that matters. But the one place where hybrid can actually have an advantage is it takes away the need to travel. It takes away the need to spend money on a hotel room. It takes, you could fit it in with other things that you're doing that same day. You could participate for a few hours at this conference and then be home for dinner and homeschool your kids and
Right.
all the other things. Tell me a little bit about the advantages of hybrid and virtual.
Well, what we found that was an advantage is we were able to get some of our members, or actually potential members that were owners, that could come to our event that wouldn't normally be able to attend, because we would have to charge more because of all the food and everything else that you have to provide. Plus then they have to book travel. It takes them out of the office for 2 or 3 days, and they could just kind of come and go as they were able to participate in sessions. So it did help us to reach a wider audience.
So would you summarize that as the flexibility for the attendee to be virtual gives them, did it increase your numbers by any chance?
Well, no, not overall, because we definitely would have higher numbers in person, but we did get one of the key audiences we were trying to reach. We still got a good representation from that audience. And they may not have been able to come had it been in person.
And that key representation was owners?
Yes.
Let's summarize that real quick.
Well, for us, owners means they're the people that decide what gets built and how it gets built. So in our case, it's a lot of public agencies that might be doing, road work or building a water treatment plant, that type of thing. Well, by going virtual, should I say, we didn't do hybrid, but by going virtual, we were able to get better representation from some of the mid-level employees with some public agencies that normally wouldn't be able to attend our event because of the time that would be spent out of the office and the cost involved with that. So we were able to introduce our education to a wider group of people.
Perfect. That works. Tell me a little bit about the feedback. What did people think? What did they tell you after the fact?
I actually got a lot of positive feedback. People were surprised. They thought, oh, it's not just a regular Zoom, you know, not to bash Zoom. I use Zoom. It has its place, but people were like, we really enjoyed it. We had a good chance to interact with others. It wasn't just passively watching a video. They actually were able to interact with everyone.
So let's dive.
You touched.
Yeah, we actually had a lot of great feedback from all of our attendees. They were pleasantly surprised that it was more than just you know, a Zoom meeting spent watching videos, that they were able to interact with other attendees, and a lot of people really enjoyed it.
Let's talk a little bit about the interaction. You know, with your platform. I don't know that we're going to use this, but I'd love to get
Right.
this content. We may use it for something else. Talk to me about the Remo platform and what it was like for the attendees. I mean, that was Z for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we had like conference room tables, so people could jump from table to table to talk to other people, just like you would in a regular conference. So you go jump to a table and you're in the middle of a conversation. It'd be kind of just like you were, you know. In fact, that's what sold me on the product, is when I was doing that and I felt like I'm in a real conference. I just bumped into somebody and interrupted them, and
And that was a video meeting. That was like a little mini.
oh yeah,
Zoom.
yeah, mhm,
Yeah.
yes.
Let's say it like that you know, you can just go to a conference table and it's like a little mini Zoom meeting. You can see each other, you can interact with each other.
Yeah, you could just go from table to table, and it's kind of like you're already in a mini Zoom meeting. You're able to interact with everybody right there, and then if you want to see somebody else you want to talk to, you can just click on their little the chair and move right over there.
Pretty cool. Where do you see this going? Get your crystal ball out.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're still going to do our in-person event. In fact, we're already planning for our event in October. I mean, we might explore the potential of adding a little bit of a virtual component to it. But what we see more being able to use this platform for is to do some perhaps half-day courses with our owner members. And in doing it that way, so that we could provide the education that we need to get to them without having to go travel somewhere and book a hotel and all of that. I would say the hardest part was just figuring out how you were going to deliver it. So there's so many different technologies and ways to deliver the content. There's such a variety of formats out there that trying to narrow it down was difficult. So that's where it would be nice to be able to reach out to somebody who's used all these different platforms to help you kind of narrow down the field to what's best for your organization and for what